Remember me, though I have to say goodbye. Remember me. Hello, my name is Señor Macías. I am an educator for Spanish at Geffen Academy, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make Pan de Muertos. It's a delicious sweet bread traditionally made for the Day of the Dead in Mexico. It's one of my favorite treats all year, and it is the best way to tell those who have moved on that we remember them. You're gonna need 2 cups of flour. You're gonna need 3 teaspoons of yeast. You're gonna need 6 tablespoons of sugar. You're also gonna need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You are also gonna need 1/4 cup of butter, 1 room temperature egg, 1/2 cup of milk, and the zest of an orange. And if you can find it at a local grocery market, orange blossom water. I got this at a Persian market right around the corner from where I live. Also, to get the orange zest off of your orange, you are going to need a orange zester. You need to be careful because these are very, very sharp. All right, so let's get started. The first thing we are going to need to do is put in our flour, and the first thing you have to do is plop it in. It's just going to look like a mountain of flour, but this mountain is really a volcano. So what you need to do is make a hole in the middle of your flour until you make a ring with your flour. Next, you're going to add in your sugar. And you're just going to sprinkle a little bit of your sugar on the inside of the flour. Once you have your sugar in there, you're going to get your salt. And the salt goes on the outside. Once we have our salt in there, we get our orange zest. We're going to put some on the top, one on this side, one on this side, and you can put in as much orange zest as you like. We're going to put in our butter in the middle of the ring. Next, we are going to add in our egg. So you're just going to break the egg and you're going to put it in. It might look messy, but hey, there's no neater way of making this kind of stuff. So put it in there, and once you have it in the middle, we're going to start mixing it. And we're going to move our fingers in a circular motion to incorporate the flour, the egg, the orange, and the salt, and the sugar, and all that good stuff. And now let's knead. As you keep working your dough, you will end up with something that looks kind of like this. If it doesn't look like this and it looks like the crumbs of a really dry cookie, then all it needs is a little bit more milk, right? So if you have any milk standing by, just add a little bit more milk and keep kneading, and eventually it'll look like this. Set it down, and we're gonna set it aside for a moment while we get our yeast ready. So you get your milk, pour it in. A tablespoon of sugar should be good. A tablespoon of flour. So just put that in there, mix it in, mix it in, mix it in, mix it in. And then we are going to get our, yeast, and we're gonna pour it in there. And we're just gonna stir it in around so that yeast starts eating and doing all that yeasty stuff, right? Which is gonna be really, really good. Once you have it mixed in, we're gonna set it to a side for about 20 minutes until it starts foaming up. You're gonna get this big, big, big foam, which we are later going to incorporate into our delicious dough, okay? See you in 20 minutes. My yeast is almost ready, so what we have to do now is get our dough. What we're gonna do with our dough, we're gonna add in the remaining sugar. And we are also going to add in some of the orange blossom water. So let's get our dough. I'm going to get the remaining sugar. Just put it in there. Then we are going to get the orange blossom water. Now, orange blossom water is very, very, very strong. So you just want to use a little bit, maybe half of the little cap that it comes with, because it smells so good. So you're only going to put like about half of the cap in. Once you have that, things are about to get really, really, really sticky. Do not freak out. The first time I made this, I was freaking out so bad because I thought that it was just a really, really bad mess. It is going to look like a really bad mess, but believe me, it's going to be like magic. It's suddenly going to come back together. So we're going to start adding this in. And once we start kneading it, yep, your hands are going to get pretty sticky. But it's about to get even worse because now we're going to pour in the yeast with the milk, which has probably doubled in size. It should have doubled in size. So just pour it in. It's going to get everywhere. So you start working it. So it's going to get sticky. Now what really helps when working with this kind of sticky dough is having a bench scraper. These things will make your life so much easier. So just start kneading it. And it's going to start getting in shape in a bit. Should start looking good. It smells really good. It smells amazing. This is going to be so good. So once it starts getting together, once you added everything else, it's not going to be so sticky and you'll at least be able to move it around. That's when the fun begins. You're just going to slam it down and just knead it around. Woof. All right, it's been a while. It's been around 30 minutes and I have been working this dough like crazy. And it looks like this. So it should be smooth. It shouldn't be sticky anymore. So once you have the dough ready, it's time to let it rest in peace. Because it is, you know, the Pan de Muertos, bread of the dead. Anyway, we are going to get a large bowl because this puppy is going to grow about 2 to 3 times its size. Anyway, before we put it in the bowl, we need to grease the bowl, okay? We need to get some oil. Could be olive oil, vegetable oil, corn oil, any oil, as long as it is edible. So we're just going to pour a little bit of oil inside. We're going to grease the bowl like so, because once this grows, it's going to get pretty sticky. So we're going to grease this up. All right, that is set. Next, we're going to get our little ball of dough. We're going to turn it into a little ball. And we are going to fold it in on itself. So top goes in, bottom goes in, side goes in, other side goes in. We just tuck it in like this until we have a little ball. Like this. Oh, look how cute. Little puffy ball. So once we have the ball, we're going to get a little bit more olive oil. A tiny bit. Just a little wee bit of olive oil on the top. And now we drop it into our bowl and we say good night for maybe about an hour, hour and a half. We're going to let it proof. Proofing is a part of baking that basically just means letting the bread rise. So we're going to let this rise, but we're going to do 2 things. We are going to cover it. We're going to cover it with some plastic wrap. And we cover it. Now, for letting our dough rise, the ideal thing is to have it rise in a place that is nice and warm. So for that, we are going to actually turn on our oven and we're going to preheat it at 390 degrees Fahrenheit. With that on, we're simply going to put our bread up here. And then we're going to go watch Coco or drink some atole or do something to get in the Dia de Muertos spirit. I'll see you in about 1 hour.
1 hour later.
Well, it's been more than an hour. It's been like an hour and 10 minutes, and it's getting pretty toasty in here. This has risen, and it's doubled in size, which is a shame because we have to punch it down. We have to punch it down. We have to take all the air out. And once we have all the air out, we're going to plop it down, or we could scoop it out and put it gently down, okay? And once it's out, we're gonna roll it out for a bit. We're gonna roll it out, knead it a little bit, and what we're gonna do, we are going to get our bench scraper and we're gonna cut off 1/3 of this off. And we are going to set our main loaf aside, and then we're going to cut this into 2. What we're going to start doing with this, we're going to start rolling it using our fingers. These 4 fingers, we're going to use them to start in making the little indents between the first 3. So you should start ending up with the bones. A lot of people think that these are the tears that we shed for loved ones after they die. But really, they are the bones, because that is what these represent. So it should look something like this. So that's 1. A little bit left over at the end. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to set it to the side, and I'm going to use this for the skull, which is the little ball that we see on top. Next, we're going to do the same with the other. Roll, roll, roll. Beautiful. Here we have the bones. We're going to put that in the middle of our loaf. And the dough we had left, see, this is going to be the skull. This is going to be the skull. And we're going to just roll it up. So we're going to get our charola tray, and we're going to grease it up a little bit with some butter, because we don't want Mr. Bone sticking on our tray. Got some left over. I'm going to put it right here. And now we're going to transfer Mr. Bones onto our tray like this. And we are going to let him rest for a second proof of around 20 minutes. And in 20 minutes, we'll come back, check in on him, and he'll be ready to go into the oven. Oh, well, it's been 20 minutes and we've been waiting. We're really excited to see how the bread looks. We have it right here, and it should have doubled in size. So let's see. Ooh, this looks so good. As you can see, it doubled in size. It definitely grew. All right, so he's gonna go into the oven for 20 minutes. The oven is currently at 390 degrees. The minute this guy goes in, we're gonna lower the temperature to 350 degrees. And once he's in there, we're gonna let him bake for 20 minutes. Goodbye, Señor Calavera, Pan de Muerto. In he goes. See you in 20 minutes. It's been 20 minutes, and safety first. We have to put on our oven gloves. Let's see how it came out. It looks delicious. Look at this. And it smells so good. Now, we're not finished quite yet. We have one more step left. That step being covering it with a copious amount of butter. We're gonna get a brush and we're gonna just put an abundance of butter melted butter. It can be as much as you want or as little as you want. I'm definitely not holding back. Ooh, that is a lot of butter. I cannot wait to taste this. Now, we're gonna get a tub of sugar that I bought from the beginning of quarantine because we knew we were gonna be baking a lot. So, I'm gonna get a spoonful of sugar and I'm just gonna drop it over the bread. Now, once I've done that, I am going to put the bread on here. Just gonna brush off any leftover sugar. It can just look like the bread is slightly coated. This is gonna be so good, and it smells amazing. Now, my Pan de Muertos is ready for my altar. Feliz Dia de Muertos! We did it! Yay! Can't wait to try this.